Welcome to the News Hour. Another night of Israeli airstrikes in Gaza and Hamas rocket fire into Israel as Israel's massive invasion force sits on the border poised to strike. At the far southern end of Gaza, the main border crossing with Egypt remains closed as aid waits to go in to help support Palestinians and to allow foreigners in Gaza to leave.
Meantime, the combined death toll is now nearly 4,100, with almost 2,800 Palestinians killed and more than 1,400 Israelis killed, mostly in the October 7th Hamas terror attacks. And the NewsHour can now confirm that 2,000 U.S. troops have been told to be ready to deploy in response to the war. Layla Milana Allen again starts our coverage tonight.
Packing up and shipping out. Israel continues calling up army reservists by the hundreds of thousands to fight what it promises will be a devastating retaliatory war against Hamas.
Since yesterday, we've seen preparations for this conflict start to roll out on a massive scale. Tanks and artillery rolling down the highway on civilian trailers commandeered by the army, in their thousands, going to amass on the southern Gaza border in a huge show of force as they prepare for an almighty battle.
And all those vehicles and soldiers need fuel to run on. Yarit usually manages this gas station on the southern highway. It's been closed since the attacks. Like other shops and restaurants across the country, with all its staff called up to fight, there's no one to work. So she's come to staff the checkout counter and keep it open. Several of Yarit's friends were murdered in the attacks. As her country mourns and plans its vengeance, she says she wants to do her part.
It's like they came into my house and shot me. That's really how it feels. So I came here to provide service for soldiers and people in spite of my fear and worries.
Like so many others here, Yarit is determined to fight back, but terrified of what that fight may bring.
This is a war of uncertainty. We won't be the same after it. There's the life we lived before and the life that we live now after what happened.
As bus after bus of soldiers rolls past on its way to the front line, they steel themselves for what awaits. Having beaten back hundreds of Hamas fighters after a long, brutal fight on the border with Gaza, as Israeli soldiers carried out the grim job of clearing victims' homes, they found a new source of terror.
In the villages that were attacked by Hamas on Saturday, the Israel Defense Forces found a huge cache of weaponry, thousands of pieces, and they suspect that Hamas planned a much longer fight.
Scattered amidst the carnage, hand grenades, anti-tank mines, artillery rounds, North Korean manufactured rocket-propelled grenades, improvised rocket launchers, and, vitally, Iranian-made mortar rounds, the first material evidence that Iran is directly supplying weaponry to Hamas in this fight.
This is made in Iran, no doubt about it. We knew they have those, we knew they have mortars, but these Iranian mortars, this is the first time that we see it on this battle.
It's taken bomb squads more than a week to safely disarm all these munitions. And now, here they sit, deep in an Israeli base. A testament to the sheer scale of the firepower Hamas has stockpiled. As Israel plans its attack on the miles-long network of Hamas tunnels that lie beneath Gaza, its soldiers can only imagine how much more awaits them there. But sitting above those weapon-stacked tunnels are defenseless civilians. For days, crowds of Palestinian dual nationals have waited anxiously at the Rafah border crossing with Egypt. With Gaza under constant bombardment and under siege, this is their only escape route. Journalist Qasem Al-Katharna holds American citizenship.
This is war in Gaza. This is war in the people who's suffering, not the military. We have to leave your mother, your sisters, your neighbors. It's the worst trouble in my life to leave right now.
Mahmoud and his daughter hold Swedish nationality. They've been trying to get out of Gaza since Saturday.
My daughter saw people die, saw children die. We've been sleeping here at the crossing point. There's shelling from every side and every corner.
The Rafah crossing in southern Gaza is controlled by Egypt. It's a vital link between Gaza and the rest of the world. But it was shut down nearly a week ago after being hit by an Israeli airstrike. Since then, no one has been allowed to leave, and desperately needed humanitarian aid has stopped trickling in.
Rafah will be open.
US officials hoped the crossing would open today for a few hours, but talks with Israel and Egypt to reopen it have so far failed. Sameh Shoukry is Egypt's foreign minister.
The Israeli government has not taken a decision that leads to the possibility of opening the Rafah border crossing from Gaza's side.
A few miles north of Rafah, in the city of Khan Yunis, there is no let-up in the Israeli bombardment. Before the war, the city was home to about 400,000 Palestinians. Now, more than 1 million after Israel ordered people to evacuate south. With hundreds of thousands displaced, a fast-growing humanitarian crisis has erupted. These men do what they can to feed fellow civilians. With no fuel left, thanks to the blockade, they cook with firewood.
There is no stove, and we can barely find firewood. I kept telling people they have to wait to eat.
Against this backdrop, Secretary of State Antony Blinken was back in Israel today after meeting with leaders across the Middle East to try and stop the conflict spreading through the region. But speaking to Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant today, he emphasized US support was rock solid.
You know our deep commitment to Israel's right, indeed its obligation, to defend itself and to defend its people.
On Israel's border with Lebanon, tensions are high. The militant group Hezbollah released video footage of themselves destroying Israeli surveillance cameras. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the Israeli parliament today.
I have a message to Iran and Hezbollah. Don't test us on the northern border. Don't get back to the mistake that you did once. Because today, the price that you will pay will be more expensive.
As violence escalates, the State Department has begun evacuating American citizens from Israel by sea.
And that violence is escalating fast. Today saw hundreds more rockets fall on both sides of the Gaza border and exchanges of fire across the northern border with Lebanon, even as Iran's foreign minister warned that the country might now retaliate against Israel even before a ground invasion of Gaza. Jeff.
And Layla, you were down near Gaza today. Give us a sense of what the preparations for this Israeli ground invasion look like.
Well, as you saw there, just a staggering amount of armour and artillery being shipped into the south of the country. And, of course, hundreds of thousands of these soldiers who've been called up, really walking down the highway with their packs, jumping into army jeeps, just being shipped out onto different border posts, but also the evacuations, because, of course, these areas are already being hit with so many rockets. And now, if there's going to be a full-scale war, they need to get people out. Some people willing to go, some people desperate to stay, saying, where on earth would I go? I've lived here all my life.
So what then are the options for Gaza now and the people there trying to escape?
Well, there are two issues here. The first is what to do right now with this humanitarian crisis that's brewing in the south of Gaza. People were told they had to move down to the south of Gaza. That's where they would be safe. Even as they started to move a couple of days ago, convoys were hit by airstrikes on the road as families tried to flee. Then they were told to go down to the south, and they were told that there was a small pocket around the Rafah crossing that would be a humanitarian zone. They approached it, and there was a strike on the Rafah crossing. Now the Rafah hospital has been told to evacuate, and they've already got people coming from all the other hospitals in Gaza. Khan Yunis, the biggest city in the south of Gaza, is being struck every day, even though hundreds of thousands of people have evacuated there. This is not sustainable. They need to find a way to make these people safe and find somewhere that they can go where they've been told to go and stay there. The next issue is what happens is if there is a full ground invasion. Currently, the Egyptians saying no way that they will open the crossing, the Rafah crossing, for everyone, only for foreign nationals. But that hasn't even happened yet. If they can at least get Palestinians with foreign passports out, that will be a significant reduction. Thousands of people will be able to get to safety. Can they build a huge refugee camp around the Rafah crossing? The Egyptians would have to agree. The UN would have to get involved. Of course, great concern. Already 1.5 million Palestinians living in refugee camps around the region. They don't want another one. And finally, there's the existential issue. Many people are concerned that this is going to be a version of ethnic cleansing, that if people leave Gaza, they will never be able to come back. They will lose their land forever, and they're terrified about that.
Layla Molana Allen joining us again tonight from Tel Aviv. Layla, thank you.